Well, hello. How's it going? Just testing out. I thought there was a problem or issue with the camera. But good morning. I hope you guys had a good weekend. It was so windy for me on the weekend. And this morning it was like 4 degrees. Very cold. Anyway, so we have a lovely couple who have just started going into 24/7 DS dynamic, and they like to go out and eat a lot. They don't like cooking at home, they go out and eat a lot. And it's a female led relationship with a male sub. Now, whenever the check comes, and because he earns more money and he pays for the meal, she feels that it's a break in the dynamic. And she feels like, this is a bit, I don't really like this. But I think it has to do a bit with the framing and just the thoughts around, what you can separating the independence of the woman and the dom being a dom, as opposed to, I guess, the politics of it, which might sound pretty weird in a DS dynamic, but being a female-led relationships, there are a lot of things that can be similar to a male-led relationship, but some things that are different, and the framing can be different. There is the whole idea that if the man pays for it, he's paying for the little woman and all that sort of other stuff. But then I'd suggest having a look at it as is it more of like a tribute thing. Say, okay, this is my sub. They're like paying a tribute or something as an honor to me. If they don't like that, basically things like, oh, when the check comes, um, some people say, get the waiter to, instead of presenting a check immediately to him, present it to her. And I was like, well, you could do that, but then it could look like a way of, um, oh, he's taking advantage of her, kind of a thing, you know. Um, I would say if the check comes to me, it seems more like a flow in a better flow in the dynamic. If the check comes and it gets presented to him, he could slide it to her without looking at it. She'll like look at it, and then decide, example, what sort of tip needs to be had, and then slide it back to him, and he pays for it. Because that way, it's like, yes, you're getting the approval. This is how much you need to tip, and I've seen the actual total before you. You haven't looked at it, and then you get to pay for that meal, um, as a tribute to me. There are a lot of other ways that it can be gotten around, such as, hey, I give you my wallet beforehand, stuff like that, so that if she's really insistent on that she could pay for it. But again, some of the optics look a bit wrong there, like saying like she's a tough woman, or is this gentleman who looks successful and all that sort of stuff just taking advantage? Does he look like a toy boy kind of thing? Um, does she like the feeling of having a toy boy? That could be a thing as well. Other than that, there's solutions for like financials, like getting joint accounts, where say he would pay tribute to that account, so then she could have a card and he doesn't, and she could do whatever with it. Um, they could still have other separate accounts as well. Me, I'm worried about having joint accounts, because I feel that sub or dom, they all need their own little bits, and to have that little control. Plus, life gets pretty complicated, and trusting your sub to be able to handle their own finances is just another thing that the dom will not need to keep an eye on and be stressed out about. And you're both there, in my mind, to make each other's lives easier in order to fulfill your kink and dynamic, and whatever it is you need to do. So those are kind of my thoughts on it. Is that perhaps, they should look at the context, or the D type should look at the context a little differently. Why does she feel like it's a break. He doesn't mind paying for it, but as I said, there's little things that you can do to change the feeling of it being a break, such as the D type looking at the total first, the D type telling this person how much to tip, like say 10, 15, 20%, or tip a specific amount, and then, or they could write the amount on it and then slide it back to them. And, I'm assuming that this is an American sort of thing where they have the tip sections and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, other than that, handing the person like a card, or having a joint account, or going into financial domination, which is, again, something a little more interesting. And seeing as they just started on a 24/7, I'd probably sort of leave joint accounts and handing financial control over till later, because their personal situation and how busy their personal lives are, it will depend on whether the D type wants to take control over that, and whether the S type will agree to that, and whether that's the kind of dynamic that they want. So many different things. Either look at it as a tribute. Also, the S type could learn to cook, even though they don't enjoy cooking. And they said that both of them don't really enjoy cooking at home. They could look at it as, I don't enjoy cooking, but I'm doing it for my D type. So you're doing something that you don't like to do, but you're doing it for the sake of them, because it will take away the, I guess, the view, or the opinion, or the thought of, oh, you're paying for the little woman, and move it more towards the service side, where it's, you're specifically doing something you don't like in order to please them, like make their favorite dish, making sure that you don't have to get dressed up and go out and then come home and all that sort of stuff. That you'll cook the meal, serve the meal, enjoy the meal, and you'll do all the cleanup and all that. That's the whole servicing. You leave things as you find it, make the place nice and nice and neat and tidy. Anyway, those are kind of my thoughts on the matter. If you think of any other ways that might help a situation like that, it'd be interesting to hear. As some people like to frame it as, like I said, a tribute. Some would say, learn a new skill, cook at home, and others say, well, how about you just slip the bill to them first, don't look at it, let them look at it, approve it, and slide it back to you, and then you pay the bill, and then that's a little thing. It's not a lot, but again, it's a little thing that will help. To me, it's always the little things that matter, and the little things that help reinforce your dynamic 24/7. Even though they claim, oh, it's a break in the dynamic, sometimes you actually do need a break in dynamic. But again, this can be addressed quite easily. It might take a little bit of sort of mental gymnastics to get your way around into something that will suit you a whole lot better. Or it could be a combination of all of the above, or anything else that you think of. Anyway, I best be off. I'll catch you guys later. Keep calm, stay kinky, wear rubber. Bye.